Stop Hunger Now is an organization that started in North Carolina, and now they have offices in several of the southeastern states. An organization committed to ending the cycle of poverty through feeding children overseas, specifically disseminating the food through schools. That helps end the cycle of poverty because parents will send their children to school so that their children are fed. It's also imperative that children get the right nutrition so that while they're sitting in school, one, they're not sitting there thinking about how hungry they are, and then secondly, their brain actually needs specific nutrients as well as, the basics of food to absorb the information that they're learning. So there's sort of an emotional component as well as a physiological component to it. We first started hearing about Stop Hunger Now through Diane Morgan, who is the president of Canterbury's UMW. She was looking at their next study program and decided that using the book Ending Hunger Now by Bob Dole and George McGovern would be an excellent resource for them. As she began to do more research, she really was realizing that the book would be best sort of connected with a hands-on project. We started looking into it, and it was great. The gentleman that we spoke to kept trying to convince us that we could do 50,000 meals, and we kept thinking, well, we could do more than that, and how about 75,000 meals? And he'd come back and say, well, why don't you start with 50? And we'd say, well, we'd like to try 100,000 meals. And we went back and forth, and we kept thinking, he doesn't know. This church will show up, and they will they will do this thing. The plan was to pack it all in one day. We knew that we needed 600 volunteers. The count that we got was 1,020 volunteers that showed up on that day. This was an intergenerational thing. We had 3- and 4-year-olds come and help us, up to some of our senior members of the congregation. It was a day that was filled with all ages, all people. Part of the project was filling the shipping container as the meals were made, boxed up, packed, and put on the shipping container. We realized that sort of a magic number was 142,560 meals. What that was going to do was fill an entire shipping container. So the reason it is 142,560 meals is that is how many meals it takes to fill a shipping container. One of the great works that Stop Hunger Now does is they commit to feeding children in an area for a 5-month period, because they know that's how long it takes for the brain to grow or for the brain to sort of be able to get where it needs to be developmentally. They needed one more shipping container of food in this small town in a ministry in Honduras. So the food went to fulfill that last chunk of feeding in Honduras. And it was very funny because all day long we kept saying, this food's going to Honduras, and people in the congregation were saying, wait, I thought it was going to Haiti or Panama. Well, it was, but now it's not. And that doesn't mean that the children of Haiti and Panama aren't receiving this. It just so happened that ours lined up with Honduras, and that was absolutely fine with us. Our goal was to feed and to get food to children who needed it, and if it needed to be in Honduras, then that was great. That container left our parking lot, went straight to Mobile, and within 48 hours was on a ship over to Honduras. What was exciting is we took pictures of the 3- and 4-year-olds that helped us. We put those pictures in the packing containers. When the packing containers got to Honduras, the children were able to see the children who packed them on this side, and we were emailed pictures of the children in Honduras who received the food. This was a true community event. It was outside of the walls of Canterbury, inviting people in to be able to pack all these meals. It was a true community event. Canterbury has been dedicated to feeding people and to making sure that we follow the words of Matthew 25, I was hungry and you fed me. Consistently feeding people for the last 2 years through our Brown Bag Project. It just so happened that both those things were happening on the same day, and it was an amazing power going on in this church to be feeding both those away, far away from us, as well as those who are close by in our own community. Another incredible thing that happened was that we invited those folks that come and get brown bags from us on Friday to come and join in the packing on Wednesday. And people showed up, and they showed up, and they packed meals to be sent to the children of Honduras. And that was a pretty great thing, pretty touching thing. Each of these meals costs $0.25, so that was kind of a fun effort to be collecting quarters from the children. Children really understood what they were doing. They would bring me, bags of their quarters. They would stop by my office and leave them on my desk. One little boy emptied out his entire piggy bank, which you knew was very special. It had lots of $2 bills in it. I knew that the Tooth Fairy or a grandpa or somebody had really given some pretty awesome thought to giving this little boy money, and he turned over $50 to me for this effort. One thing we did is everyone was required to either wear a hairnet or a hat, and we provided these hats that say, "I helped feed 142,560 people." And our hope was that people would wear these out in the community, and that in the post office line, in the grocery line, at the gym while they're working out, on the walking trail, somebody would say, "What could you possibly mean? You helped feed 142,560 people." And that would open the conversation to all of our call, to all of our hearts, that we are able to end hunger now. We have gotten such incredible feedback, and people are dying to do it again. We decided that we'd like to do it again next year. We'll be hopefully making this an annual event. What we want to do differently next year is, for sure, we want to up the number. Now that we've proven that we can do this measly 142,560, we want to bump way up and do a lot more. And we want to intentionally invite other congregations to join us in that, so that while we are able to provide the room and sort of the organization piece, invite other congregations to bring their members here and be able to experience the joy and the tangible, excitement of helping feed people who need food. I get it now. We must stop hunger. Jesus demanded that we feed those who are hungry. It was great to see it sort of from beginning to end, and now we know what we can do, and we are going to do a lot more next year.